posted, the crossing, crosswalk signs are posted there. So I don't know that speeding is an issue right there that we have determined. Now, 35 miles an hour is, 35 miles an hour is quick when there's kids approaching and you don't really know what they're gonna do.
Isn't that a bus route, Jerry?
No, I'm not.
I mean, I always thought the buses came out of the high school and went down that street and then out.
No, they go to back, they go to Maine and then over to Thorpe. Or well, they don't go to Thorpe anymore, they go to Coble and then behind the school.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're still doing that this year.
Yeah,
It worked out way better than not dropping off in front.
Okay.
So that is a council direction. If you think that is something we need to look into and set up some times and bring it back to ordinance, or that would require some
Why don't you
signing.
monitor it and let us know?
Okay.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, just monitor it and see what's going
Okay.
on.
We also have the radar trailer as soon as we get a battery for it. I've got permission to put it in someone's front yard on next, in that area, to deter, I mean, that might be a start, instead of signage and stuff, use that to get people to slow down. So we'll go from there. Thank you.
Okay.
thanks, Clay.
Yep.
Number 11, liquidation of surplus equipment. I think that's you and Tim.
Tim had a bunch of stuff, I just had one, police car that was at the airport that is inoperable at this point. It serves absolutely no purpose. I mean, it's scrap, I think, at this point. We have two Impalas in the fleet, and I believe we've used parts from it to make those other ones, the better parts that were on it, make the other ones better, so it just needs to go be auctioned off.
Okay.
Not a usable value of it.
And just, them items there, I guess, they just need approval to put them on a purple wave sale.
Will you take better pictures?
What's that?
Take better pictures?
Oh, they'll come.
They'll come do it.
They come do it, yeah. Yeah. They come take pictures of everything and then they put it on, so I guess I just need a
Video on
approval
that
to
mower.
put them on a sale date for them.
Need that in the form of motion.
We do, so we can go ahead and list these and start the liquidation of asset process.
Okay, what all is it you have?
Just these, yeah.
They're not packaged.
Yeah, I know,
Okay, what we got is an old motor from the well north of town, the old Impala, and then this is the old, from the swimming pool, the lines on that reel, the old auger truck, a Hustler mower. So, then there'll be the spreader in the back of that 81 dump truck in the collage here, and then the dump truck will be itself. So they'll be separated.
You're gonna take the spreader off the truck?
Yeah, that's not the spreader that goes with it, the truck and the spreader will be separate items.
The spreader's for a tandem axle truck
Yeah.
on the bed. It's just they're setting it there.
I see, just to get rid of, okay. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, it's just sitting in there, storage.
Yeah, what kind of engine is that was on that well?
I don't know if it's an old Wisconsin or an old,
Now, it's propane.
yeah, it's a propane engine.
Jeremiah, that.
I'll entertain a motion from the council.
So moved.
Second? You second, Jerry? Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 5-0.
That's what you're saying that.
Council reports, anyone have anything they
I
want to
have a
share?
couple of questions. Last council meeting, I asked, for a budget workshop meeting. We've only had one this year, and there was no input from the council at the first meeting, and the other one was canceled. Last year, we had 4 budget sessions. And so I feel that the council really didn't have any input in the budget. So I have just one question. By looking through it, I see that the police department is asking for a patrol vehicle, and they're asking for $25,600, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, did you not tell us last budget meeting that you were on a 2-year rotation, and we just purchased one in January.
That was the goal, was to get to a 2-year rotation.
Okay,
We currently have 3 patrol cars that are what I would be considered past their serviceability, and the guys have worked on them on their own time, replacing parts. So there's some of them need substantial work in order to keep them longer. If we don't get another patrol car next year, then we'll have to do some pretty serious mechanical work to a couple of them, or to one of them, to keep it going longer than if we would to replace it.
okay, I'm thinking that we need to stay on that 2-year rotation. If we get out of it, we never get back on it.
That's the goal.
That's what.
Well, because what we're looking at next for 2022 would be a what we'll consider used with 50,000-ish miles to get it to where it needs to be in the rotation, so we can have a 2-year rotation. And then in 2023, we would need what we would consider a new vehicle, which
So we're buying a patrol car every year, then, is what you're saying?
for the next 2 years, and then after that, it will be every other year. So it'll be 2023, every odd year, 2023, 2025, 2027.
So then it's on a 1-year rotation.
No, it'd be a 2-year rotation. Every 10 years, we would replace a car will go out of service.
Okay, that's all I had for that, but my next question, Roger, is for you. Since we're gonna start this electrical bill out or rebuild soon, you know, the 12.5, what happens to the wire, the electrical wire? Do we get control of that so we can recycle it? The copper wire?
Yes, if they're removing any copper, most of the
But the
circuits,
city will retain ownership of that, is that correct?
correct, for liquidation, they cannot be reused somewhere else.
Yeah, I know, but it can be recycled,
Yes.
and that's gonna be a lot of wire, you know, that we're gonna take down, so. Okay, that's all I have, thank you.
Anyone else? Department reports, Randy?
No comment.
Okay. Clinton?
Nothing.
Anything else?
Nope.
Margot?
Not much have questions.
And Tiffany? Roger, you have anything further?
I just shared with the council, the consumer price index was released, and for this year so far, we're at 5.8% inflationary factor. And in light of the budget and the concerns and all of this, our budget proposal is at the same mill levy, actually 2/100ths of a mill less than what we have currently. So we're not increasing any revenues, any of that type of stuff. But we're faced with constantly increasing costs around us. We did not budget any increases at 5.8%. We had budgeted fuel flat for this year. We've already gone from spending 2,800 a fuel cycle to the last one was over $5,000. So I just want to make everyone aware, council, the citizens, all of it, we're not increasing the mill levy. There's been a lot of misinformation broadcast about that. The mill levy that we're proposing is 2/100ths of a mill less than what we got this year. Okay? And we continue to face the rising costs. We currently have 6 positions open that we've been unable to fill because of macroeconomics, have made it more advantageous for people to sit at home and collect unemployment than to pursue a career and move forward. So, thank you, just compelled to share that on behalf of the team, that we continue to try to save nickels and dimes every place we can, and we can't keep up with what's happening with inflation and parts availability.
Well, this year should have been the year we could have saved money, because we were paying off a loan for $100,000, which is an industrial park that was supposed to be paid off in 10 years instead of 20. We got rid of the swimming pool, well, just the
No, you did not.
expense.
All you did was kick that can down the road.
And we got rid of the, baseball field and the rec program, which was $135,000.
Council, it's a vote of the 5. Do you want another revised budget before the hearing?
No, I'm just asking questions, Roger, so I can
And I've
understand
offered to
this.
you on multiple occasions that I will meet with any counselor and explain any detail. Being brought up in a public meeting in the way that it's being presented is not constructive for anyone.
The reason it's been brought up in a public meeting, Roger, and I will not meet with you one-on-one, because I always come away with false information or something that can't be
We've
substantiated.
afforded you opportunities to meet with the mayor and myself. You've taken advantage of that one time, and then you've not sought any additional information.
Well, I feel that the council, in front of the council, is the only place it needs to be, so everybody knows what's going on. And I'm sorry if you don't agree with that.
I have a question, did you find the driver to drive today, were they able to pick up trash, or what happened with that?
Yes, Frank Warner, we had to take off of the sewer, assignments, and we had to go to the trash truck. We'll be meeting as a staff tomorrow and determine how we're going to continue to fill that operation.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, public forum. Do you have anyone wish to speak in a public forum? Yeah, okay, come forward, please.
Just have some pages to see, maybe that we collected so far. I'm Ruth Wang, and I live at Marion on 523 North Roosevelt Street, and thank you for allowing me to address you today. We have gathered 63 signatures so far opposing the sale of property, the Reserve A, as is designated as drainage, easement, and utilities in the industrial park at the corner of Callison and Roosevelt in Marion City. This particular area has been reserved and platted for drainage, landscaping, open space, and utilities, confined to easements per documents read at the dedication, which was held June 18th, 2001. This area is designated as major, and I emphasize that, drainage for a large area from Eisenhower Street, Cemetery area, and all of the streets to the west, Coble, Freeborn, and also areas from Faint Drive to Roosevelt Street, and from at least maybe three blocks south of each of these streets. The new housing on Coble Street has made less land available for absorbing drainage, and so it all drains down there. This was designated as an industrial park, not a commercial area. The commercial area is across the highway. Two of the reserved areas, B and C, according to plat maps, have already been given to businesses without proper change documentation, which I checked with the deeds office this morning. And I don't know if anything has been done about this select area with the planning and zoning or not. But it is not, I checked that too. Where would the dirt come from to fill this area? That's a very low area. And where would the drainage go? The traffic at the corner of Roosevelt and Kellison is already congested with cars and trucks, some large, going to the Spur Ridge Clinic, Highway 56 repairs, and the Dollar General store, and even from the John Deere. The street corner going north on Roosevelt from Kellison is washing away because it's not curved. Concrete has been rinsed from mixing trucks and messed with the flow of the drainage of water into Ann's Park already. Kellison Road from the east is very badly washed from large amounts of drainage from Eisenhower and the northeast area of the cemetery. The originally platted area was to have no entrances from the south on Kellison to the park. That was easement and drainage. That's why Moulton Street and the industrial circle were platted to carry all incoming traffic into the industrial area. There used to be a sign stating high pressure line on the underground somewhere along Kellison. It used to stand pretty close to the street sign there. It is no longer there, probably mowed over and not put back. And who authorized to have core drilling done on Kellison Street in the industrial park there in the drainage? They were there core drilling in there. And I know everything costs money. The biggest it always is, it is a very necessary drainage area in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. we have anyone else wish to address the council?
I'm Pat Smith. When we moved here, that was just an empty lot across the way on North Roosevelt. We're on the corner. We were assured that there would not ever be anything on that corner except what's there now, the drainage ditch. It was supposed to be landscape and utilities, lines. That's what it was supposed to be used for. So, there's a lot of traffic going out to the Dollar General right now. And so the traffic is coming in from all directions going that way. So, having anything else there besides what's there right now would just be disaster. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
I had been living by that area for 25 years, and I've seen it go from a land to a industrial park. We've got a drainage problem, fellas, really have. We've seen that, looking out my window, I can see it 25 feet of water, yes, 25 feet. I look out probably about 60, 70 feet, there's water. And I talked to a gentleman this morning that lives on Cobble Street, and he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm looking at these culverts there. There's two culverts there, and they're like 5 feet by 48 inches. So they're 2 by 4, two of them. Now, you go down to the corner of Roosevelt and Kelton, there's 3 of them there. One is 8 foot by 4, the other 2 are like, 40 inches square. Now, they fell full. So this gentleman I talked to on Cobble Street said he sees the water back up to his area. That's a long ways up. Now, there is 2 culverts there that you guys put in. So that drainage is a serious problem now. It really is. Now, invite you guys, I'll take you on a show and tell if you like. We'll look at the whole picture. And I'm wondering if you guys ever actually seen that, or you got it on the print, whatever. So, I don't know that that's a good idea to put a place, building there at all. So, you're invited, I'll take you on a show and tell. And we'll actually look at the site rather than on the picture. Have any of you guys been to the site?
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed, if you're standing on Chilson, you look up, that what Eisenhower Street is uphill. There's a lot of water goes through there, a lot of water. So, I think there's gotta be a better place. And I'm kinda disappointed you turned your back on the dollar store that's there. Thank you.
In regards to the drainage, I believe that they're having an engineer come in, aren't they? Roger?
That was the letter that council passed for their engineer and architect to look at the feasibility of the site.
Right.
It's part of the 120-day due diligence period, on this sale, so they can make the determination if it is feasible or not.
Okay, I got another comment. There was the Corps guys, they were drilling in that valley. Now you got a 25 feet setback. Where's that water gonna go? There's a lot of water goes through there.
Yeah. Well, they've got to guarantee to us that if they build there, they have to guarantee to us that their engineers are gonna design it where there won't be an issue with the drainage.
Well, that $10,000, does that include, getting it ready to go or what?
No, that's all on them. Every bit of it's on them.
Well, my point is, you don't mess with Mother Nature and water.
Well, we will pass that information on, and your petition, we'll pass that on to the people that's,
I think we need to take a real close look at that terrain.
Okay,
A lot of water.
all right, well, thank you.
Roger, last meeting you said that this needed to be subdivided and replatted, is that correct?
Yes,
And when we do that, does it not have to go to the planning and zoning
it
board?
does, and that's the appropriate time
And
for
they will-
petitions and
We'll take a look at it,
there's a process.
and by that time, we'll know what they intend to do with the drainage, is that correct?
Yes, they have to provide a site plan that addresses the needs not only there, as well as whatever, it's standard practice in commercial construction, that you build retention ponds to address any concerns. For the 20 years that I was in that business, that was all standard. They've already been told of that before they ever came back and said, this is the site we'd like to look at.
Okay, that site, the way I understand it, is only an acre.1 in size, where are they gonna build the retention pond at?
The engineers have that responsibility. They've looked at initial design, and upstream of that, there is room to build a retention. There are multiple ways to address it. That's why there's engineers that specialize in hydrology.
So is this?
Can I make a comment? So that water I've been seeing, there's no big problem. That's going through there.
Has it flooded any residents,
Well,
Not
so
yet.
there's water there and he's gonna put a building 25 feet back.
No. The site plan is not 25 feet back. The parking lot and the other things. Again, I appreciate all of your concerns. There is a process to go through. Council moved for them to go ahead and do the architectural design work, make a determination there. We're in 120-day due diligence period for both sides to make sure that this contract will even.
Now, that petition is 100% yes, there was 0 said no. So that could be citywide, so you better, that 3 to 2 vote might get you in trouble.
I would like to say, I understood that you people are servants of us, the citizens. We elect, and you are servants of us, and you are supposed to be working for our good. And so,
Bringing employment, bringing commerce, bringing sales tax revenue, bringing those services that the youth in our community, quite honestly, leave our community because they're not available here. That's not serving the people.
I am saying in this particular case, where this is wanting to be built, is no, not in anybody's best interest. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
And that's what your elected
Okay.
officials make the
If we
decision.
go with citywide knock on the doors and we have a 100%, there's a good possibility we wind up with 95% against this, oppose it. So that doesn't look good for that 3 to 2 vote.
Go ahead.
I just wanna say it's location, location, location. They could go, if they wanna build, they can go a little bit further north, there's plenty of flat land there. to build, why tear up a drainage that's working? And tear it up and make a mess of it. I mean, that's just, there's plenty of area out there to build.
There's gonna be a lot of fill in there, a lot of fill in.
Yes, sir?
There is a plat design of this that I'm sure was made by an engineer years ago. And I'm sure that circle out in there with that Molden Street going out to it was designed because of the drainage to the south. If it was not, why don't they bring the street from the south in there anyway? Why don't you run Coble Street right in there to it there? Because there is a drainage problem. You know, I'm sure an engineer designed this to start with. This plat was not drawn up by some flunky out here.
That's correct. It was engineered. Anyone else? We'll take all your recommendations into consideration. We have 120 days to due diligence on our part and on their part. We're not gonna allow something to come in there that's going to flood that area. It's not gonna happen.
And Dave, I'd just like to say, I don't think this is gonna bring, and I'm not against the Dollar Tree. We can move it 100 feet north like we suggested, but I don't think it's gonna bring more revenue in the town. What it's gonna do is split off of Dollar General and put it on the Dollar Tree.
Well, I could only assume that they probably looked into that before they decided to come here. They surely looked at the population and what's available to them. Why would they wanna put a store in this town that's not gonna be supported?
I don't know.
And it creates jobs, it creates property tax, I mean, it's kinda hard to pass up a business that wants to come here. We have a hard enough time getting any kind of business to come into Marion.
Yeah, but why can't we just push them 100 feet north, suggest that they go north of there instead of messing up the drainage?
We can talk to them about that, Ruth, but this is the one that they selected, it's the one they wanted. They didn't wanna go in the business part because they wanted to be on the city electricity. That's one of the reasons the business part, that's on, Flint Hills, correct? And they didn't wanna buy their electricity from Flint Hills, they wanted to buy it from the city, and that's the reason they didn't wanna go across the road.
Well, I understand that, and that would be money in our pocket. But there's a lot of buts to it.
You know, also, our property taxes, if anything goes in there, that whole area down there, the property taxes